Hello, everyone. It's Jessica again from Northern Atlas. And today we are going to talk about the sun. And we have a new chart that we're going to be looking at just to keep things fresh, keep things mixing up. And this is Scorpius. Very unique title, super imaginative. They are, in fact, a Scorpio sun. So this video is going to be focused all about the sun and what it means to look at your sun in a chart reading. And we'll do a separate video for Scorpius's moon and moon phase. So this is Scorpius's chart. I should have picked a different name. I'm going to be in your ear. So this is Scorpius's chart, and this here is the sun. So they are a day chart, which is partly why I wanted to use them as an example for today's video. I personally have a night chart. I always describe this as like when evening or darkness comes, that is when I feel like, ooh, I'm welcoming in this time. My husband is the opposite. He has a day chart. So once darkness comes, he's flipping on all the lights. I will like navigate my house in total darkness, and he will turn on all of the lights. So I don't know if this is relevant to Scorpius's situation, because we are going to talk about their moon phase. But anyway, day charts. So having a day chart simply means that your light leader is the sun. And so that luminary, we like to refer to the sun and the moon in astrology as planets. And we say that we do that, and then we like start calling them other things like the luminaries. And so these are the light-giving planets. So the sun, again, we would have gone through the whole spiel if we were sitting down in a reading together. And the sun is like the other planets. The sun has a job to do. They have roles to fulfill. And the sun is very much like that king monarch. They're responsible for life here on Earth. So something that right away is very interesting in Scorpius's chart is that very, very, very close to Pluto, which is an outer planet. It's a generational planet. It's a modern planet, but it's very, very close to their light leader, to their sun, and they're just a couple of degrees away. So there's this consciousness of what is almost unconscious. So a consciousness provided by the sun to look at and maybe even fixate on what is meant to be unseen. So what's like buried underground, what's buried beneath our conscious versus subconscious mind. So I can see that being potentially a big theme for Scorpius's like day-to-day living. Also in the 11th house, we of course look to the sign as well as the house. And by the sun being in the 11th house, we know, okay, for sure, this is a day chart. And the 11th house may sound familiar because our previous example, Leon, was I think their chart ruler was in the 11th house. So now we have a sun in the 11th house as part of our examples. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, feel free to go back to days 2 and 3, where we talk about a different chart with some similar themes in terms of the 11th house of like audience. And even more interestingly, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, the MC, which is our most public angle, is very close as well, within 10 degrees of the sun. So I kind of dove into the deep end there. Let's back things up a little bit. What is the sun when we're looking at your chart, and what are we learning from it? So we're going to be learning about like where does your conscious energy live and what is your personal North Star. So if we view the chart ruler as the captain of our ship, and if we view the first house and the ascendant as the ship itself, well, where is it that we're planning on going in this life? So this is a snapshot of the sky when Scorpius was born, and then everything kept moving, as is the case with all of our charts. So if you're Scorpius and you're looking at your chart and you're saying, okay, well, what am I supposed to be working towards? Where am I going to feel the most lit up? We can look at the sun as that guiding point. And the sun in this scenario, I may start asking about like, okay, what's your experience of like your awareness of all of these Pluto themes and all of these Scorpio themes. So Pluto in Scorpio is a very generational experience. So I'm born a couple of years before, trying to do math, before Scorpius, but I'm also a platter. I'm also a Pluto in Scorpio, not a platter. Anyway, it creates this much more personalized connection to that generational upheaval, that generational experience that we're all going through, to say, well, yeah, we're all Pluto and Scorpio. But like I basically can't not think about it. And so we would probably start with like, okay, what does your North Star pull you towards? What are you often fixating or focusing on? And I do know Scorpius, fake name, real person, a little bit, and I don't believe that they have any qualms with this focus. I think they've really like accepted it, really embodied it. But if this was your chart and you were like, I'm always thinking about death, I'm always thinking about talking to the dead, I'm always thinking about like how to connect with the like most base part of my animal instincts, and I don't know why, like I don't like that about myself, maybe then we would have a conversation about like, well, it would really make sense if that is something that is a constant theme in your life, something that you really don't see yourself ever getting away from. And how might it feel if you were to embrace that? What might it feel like in your body to say, I am going to go for a run in the cemetery because I like communing silently with those that are gone? Or I may use like this 11th house context. I may use my sort of public platforms and my relationship with my audience to teach about these things. And to teach about like what gets buried and why, what sort of like taboo, or just like in the past and people want it to stay there. Yeah, and I'm sort of crafting a bit of a story in my head again from the real person, fake name Scorpius. So we would look at the sun from this sort of lens, and we would just talk about like what tensions they might be experiencing, and what it might feel like to pull apart that consciousness from that buried underworld Plutonian energy. It's very difficult to do. It's not necessary to do. I have a lot of conjunctions in my chart as well. And it's sort of like only ever hearing the orchestral version of a song, and then to talk about it in individual pieces can be a bit of a mind-bending experience. And didn't want to lose sight of the ruler of this house. So that is actually going to be Mars. Mars rules Scorpio in Hellenistic tradition. And Mars is sitting pretty at 0 degrees of Aries, just got in under the wire at the time of birth. So Mars is in his own home of Aries. He's got 2 homes, rich bitch. And he is the sort of landlord of the space where the sun lives. So we would often look to the ruler of that sign as well to say, like, okay, is there any sort of expertise being lent here? And by the looks of it, it is. So we might start talking about, like, okay, how does Mars play into this? What's your like activity level like? Do you feel supported by the activities that you go through day to day? Because this is in the 4th house, which is like the basement of your chart, basement of your home, basement of the sky. It's like very much the unseen stuff. And Mars just slipped in under the wire there. And I would just be curious to talk about, like, do you have this energy to tackle these themes of the sort of esoteric Scorpio fixed water lens that, or backdrop, I should say, that your sun, your consciousness, your guiding light is continuously pulling you towards. And then we would talk about the moon and the moon phase, which I'm going to split up into another video. We will be using Scorpius's chart again for the moon and moon phase. So be sure to follow along on the 12 days of Astro Tools, and make sure that you are signed up to get all the emails so you don't miss any. And we will see you soon. Bye.